Hey guys, this is the XRP Cowboy. Hey, this is Billy. And I've got some great news. And some of you have heard, some of it you haven't. But I wanted to start with this amazing video that's gonna make you see flare in a different light. Oh wait, we'll wait on that. It's kind of messed up, you know. Stormy night in the big black sky as Jesse pulls into town. Thunder rolling in the lightning bolts come crashing to the ground. Cold as steel. I don't know the words, but rainy night. So, I cannot wait to play this video. It will support something. I have a punch list, but I just want you to know I'm making this video. It's gonna reference a lot of Jungle Inc., but he was having a fucking shit show he sent me this video of his feels, and this motherfucker knows everything, guys. Everything. And when it doesn't seem like he knows something, he actually did know. Just so you know. He's pushing all the buttons, but he gave me some power tonight. And the Cowboy's going to say, the roadies are still standing correct and tough and tall. And the dreamers are still believers, you know? But we got some great regulation, a bill for regulation. And you know what's beautiful? I was watching Jungle's video. He went over it a lot more. You should watch his video. Trust me. But it pretty much, they watered it all down. It's not as bad as we thought it would be. Not even close. You know what's holding the fucking space up right now? Why it's down? It's one thing. It's government mints. But this government specifically, our investing and everything has a lot to do with the world's economy, right? And the value of a world investment. They're holding it up because they're trying to figure out how to fuck us in the fucking ass and take our money. That's what's bringing the price down, okay? You want one logical reason? There you go. Where most people aren't, that's where it is. My fucking newbie sheep, that's for you. Because my fucking roadies know. So do my dreamers. Billy's dreamers. So let's start touching on this shit. They just want to fucking tax her ass. And, but anyways, this bill, it's great. They're looking at, in a small fraction of it, if you spend $100 less, you won't pay taxes. It's just about, like Jay said, they're going to have to send some paperwork, which they already are. They would do it anyways because they're going public. We know they control, XRP. Yeah, it's decentralized, but that's not why we're in it. We're in it because of Ripple, really. Which was, OneCoin or whatever the fuck, an XRP before all this shit, right? So, bottom line is, he said that he has a lot of belief this bill will pass, and ultimately, I've been seeing indicators for July. July meaning right before, right after, but July. And then we have fucking Raul Paul's Mr. Know-It-All, because he speaks well, doesn't say much about anything, unless it's in a text message. But he's got a cool place and a good life, and he looks like he's got money, so that's cool. He just said July, Maybe he's watching my channel is what I'm saying, that motherfucker. But bottom line is he put that on about the new bill being passed, and he goes into a lot more detail than I will, but it's super fucking bullish for this space. And you know, and he's like, and fucking someone's bitching about fucking, you know, Lightning Network, you know? It's like, this is good for everybody. You know, and we've been saying this for a long time since the lawsuit, just about maybe a month later when the Cowboy figured it out that Brad wasn't, you know, maybe the SEC and Brad, you know, and even Coinbase we've thrown in there for some logical reasons. But mostly it's been the two of them are in bed together, and Gary's going to be seen as the fucking king. Because and you know, I believe it just doesn't make sense, the whole lawsuit and them getting their ass kicked, unless it was to create regulation, but not against Ripple on the space. And maybe that's been the holdup. Maybe they've been helping them. I believe Jay touched on that with the bill. You know, I mean, I'm interpreting what he said, unless I misunderstood it. But that's kind of falls into my narrative too, that I've been talking about forever. They're working with them, and you know what the problem is? When most coins die, it's going to be through delistings, and I've been saying that for a long time. They've been, you know, way before they talked about investigating. I'm not trying to sell me. I'm just trying to tell you how it is, newbies. 'Cause my fucking people know this. So I was analyzing something that a friend sent me today in the last video, some coin, you know, and it made me really think a lot about other coins, like Ripple, and how they're, you know, they created this private ledger for XRP, but it's decentralized. But anyways, it had to do with liquidity pools and all that shit. But that, I don't even want to get into it, take too long. Let's touch on my punch list. We'll probably go mirror some more of some other stuff. Link to, I think it was CEO, but hey dude, hey you guys, I want you to sponsor me, and I want like $1 per video, or no, actually I want you to counter that with a better price. But you know, and I'm not trying to be negative towards this guy. I see what the company's doing. They're targeting the lower level investor from a whale perspective, and they're getting a lot of everyday people investing because the entry point is so low. And they're like, hey, how come fucking an everyday Joe that isn't accredited, doesn't qualify? You could qualify if you were smart enough to figure it out, though. But if it doesn't qualify, he can go throw 10K down on a blackjack table, but he can't invest in these great tech companies. You know, it's like, riddle me fucking this, motherfucker. Okay? Do you really think it's because they give a fuck about the people? These fucking vultures? These fucking whales that don't want to see us swim? No, they don't care about it. They do it because if everyday people could invest in private equities, in an odd way, it would put so much shit in that market that they couldn't get the deals and make the generational wealth or whatever the fuck they're doing. They can't be the first one moving. You know, most of the money in stock, unless you're willing to wait 100 fucking years, is made in a short term, and that's, you know, I'm confused between crypto and stock. An initial public offering. I'm so fucked up by the coin offering, but is made before that, and once it's listed, and then it goes to them when they sell. It's exit liquidity. People bought it at the top. It takes them fucking 2 to 5 to 10 years to get it back to where they bought it because of these fuckers. They don't want you playing that game because every time you buy something, they can't. And they're the ones making the rules. That's why I don't think things will change unless it's a really complex test. That would make it cool. which they already have. So what's wrong with the situation? But I'm saying that owning private equities. So I'm talking my book. But fuck. So that's the answer to your fucking question, Ling Tu. It's not a logical one. It's a manipulated one. Okay, I was going to talk about the private ledger, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, yeah, okay. So let's talk about let's save Flair. Matt Hamilton. Jungle thinks that bill's gonna pass, and so do I. And what if July? I don't know. Maybe I don't know the dates, and they're on a certain date. But what if I just punch it together? I don't have a crystal ball, but I have a fucking brain that works like one. I'm a problem solver. I'm not educated, but I'm a problem solver. And if something makes sense to me, usually that's the logical answer. And what makes sense is SEC and Ripple are working together. Okay? Billy, don't fucking interrupt my story again. Cut me off. But they are. And they're creating something that will make 90% of the problems go away. And I believe they have to attack ETH because that's where all the projects are. But I don't know. Is it the sacrificial lambs? Bitcoin gets the ETF, and then ETH gets hammered, so it funnels into the Bitcoin or the next best project. They're just holding back. That's another factor. They're holding back XRP. They don't want it to fucking rock, which means an ETF should come soon. They don't want it to exceed Bitcoin's market cap. So they need the ETF because that's like an IPO, which gives all the investors exit liquidity or fucking even more gains than they could ever imagine, even though they've already made them. And remember this about investors. Not investors, traders. We're investors. And did you know the fucking traders made money all the way up to the top and they made the same amount, well, depending where their entry was, all the way back down, and now they're going to make it going up even further with Bitcoin after this? Manipulation. Brian Brooks. Believe me when I say this, what's happening today, Brian Brooks had a big part of that. Regulations are good if this bill gets passed. They get their fucking tax money, and they're regulating all these spaces like Binance and exchanges. So in making it so manipulation can't happen. I mean, Binance, U.S. Binance, Bitcoin crashed to 85 from like 60K in the blink of an eye. And all these people, I'm sure, got wiped out because of it. It's manipulation. Brian went there, they offered him a lot of fucking money, and then he saw that they were the fucking evil fucking criminals, and he got out of there as fast as fuck. So we're going to see his name come back up, and he's not the chief comp controller of currency but anymore, but he set up a lot of things that are making the things today happen, and he'll be seen in a great light because of it. Private Brad. Oh, back to Matt Hamilton before I was interrupted. He's predicting XRP could hit 100 one day. Well, guess what? You know who, he worked for Ripple. But you know who else that worked for Ripple? Made false accusations about price and grossly underestimated the future value? David Schwartz. He sold his Bitcoin for pennies on the dollar. He even sold his ETH for pennies on the dollar, having no idea that it could ever reach the capacity that it did. And we're just getting started. Now, today's day and age, we know where it's going. It's not all berry dust like back then, and fucking moon sand, right? So, you think if he was wrong about where the price could go, and especially the time frame on how quick, that Matt Hamilton is anyone you can, you know, you can trust with pricing? I mean, I don't think he worked at Scott Trade on the trading desk, right? And he's making some projections. I just think he truly doesn't know, just like David Schwartz. And I'll tell you what, if David Schwartz could get all of that fucking Bitcoin he bought, you know, back then and sold and have it, buy it back for fucking, no, have the option to, well, clearly, to hold it to like 300K right now, but he'd have to wait 10 years. He'd probably take all that money he made back and do that. Because even though it's significantly higher the price, no, he could sell, let's say. He'd probably let it sit there. Because things change, right? Everybody, just a second of your life can change like that, you know, in good and bad ways, right? Bad things sometimes don't take weeks and months. It's sometimes they're not projected or even something you can, you know, see coming. And those are the worst ones. Because it's a doctor's visit and they tell you have fucking MS, you know, or they tell you have fucking a life fucking killing disease. That is, it took a long time, but you didn't know about it. It took 1 second to change your life, you know, or you win the fucking mega millions, or you invested in something and you knew what you owned. Sorry, I'm peeing right now. But, you know, gotta be in the fucking game, in it to win it. Take, you know, let's get to the most important thing, guys. I know I'm rambling too much, so I just want to get to it. I write so bad. Okay. Let's just talk about Flair. You know, Brad Garlinghouse has been in the videos. Hugo's a dick. I've said from the beginning that fucking Flair, you know, was not going to give us our fucking tokens until this settlement was done. Like happening a week later, 2 weeks later, or a week before. We're not going to get them until they can use XRP. They want their brother and sister. They want to walk through this together. And I said this since the lawsuit. But I will say this. Whales. Don't want to see us swim whale's blood. That we're supposed to get them in July. And a lot of other things correlate with July. So ultimately, this is the thing. Flare is set up for maximum liquidity. I don't know the technicals, the smart contract stuff, but I have to believe that's a big part of their game because I remember somebody I really respected that's been right a lot saying that Flare is ETH is mad about Vitalik's mad about Flare because it's like ETH 3.0, even though 2.0 is not yet out yet. I don't think it'll ever come out, guys. I don't think they'll say it's happening. Never. So you got that. But then, you know, you also have Casper Labs. which I'm invested in, its development team, and they were dealing with some problem that was called a ghost or something on the Ethereum network, and they called it Casper, the friendly ghost, to fix. But I guess they integrated a fraction of that, but they said they can't fully integrate Casper until E 3.0. And they're like, what the fuck? And we don't even know if 2.0 is ever going to come out. And those were developers working with them. So they went and launched their own Casper token. You know? It's so beautiful. But point is got two big players here that we're talking about. So let's just say they're rapping everything. I don't know what that means, but to my simple-minded capability in intellectual strength, I believe that means they take a token and then they move it on another blockchain, and it's wrapped, meaning it's like, they don't say this, but if it's XRP, it's like XRP with a tag that says Bitcoin and it's wrapped. I think that's, or Flare. That's what Flare's doing. But what happens is they have to sell that fucking Bitcoin to buy the Flare. So if there's two Bitcoins in the world worth $2 million, $1 million each, $2 million. Once they sell this one of the $1 million Bitcoins, to create a Bitcoin wrap, Flare has $1 million infusion into Flare Spark liquidity, while it moves the Flare to the other side. And it might mean you're moving $1 million in Flare, whatever, but while you move to the other side, and then Bitcoin, if you own one, it would drop in half to $1 million market cap because one's gone, and then once it pops off at the other side, and it's rebought into Bitcoin from Flare, then the market cap recovers. And generally speaking, it's a good thing for Bitcoin because it drives the price higher, because when it drops down 50%, it's already down. But you got players coming in, buying it, which takes it up 10, 15, or 5%. And then once this Bitcoin's bought at the other end and it's repurchased in the market, that takes it up another 50% from its original price, and catapults it to that 2 million that was, all of a sudden might be worth 2.5 million because of the purchasing when it was in its downtrend. Quick downtrend, which people are more likely to buy. So that's what Wrapped is. But the whole thing is with Flare is they're trying to capture all the liquidity, of all these coins that they're listing. But more importantly, it was designed for high price because they're rationing the tokens. If they just gave us all our tokens and we're like, fuck Hugo, that bitch, and fuck his man, because he's a bitch, because Hugo's a bitch, and sold, the algorithms and everything would take the liquidity to nothing. It could fail overnight. So by rationing, it's almost like you're, the diluted supply is not, it's fractionally met. And, it encourages holding in price elevation because people are sitting on their coins, and if they sell them, it doesn't matter because there's more coming out. And by then, other people will buy their coins, just like the Bitcoin story I said, where it drops price and then this, and then it gets reinfused into the market. This is a one-way fucking market. It just feels down. With that being said, you got that. You got to remember Ripple created Flare. I think they want to work together. I think Songbird was just a delay, tactic. But I just have this feeling about Songbird too, though. It's weird. I haven't gotten most of my tokens, but But I will say I'm optimistic that Coinbase will cough him up. So let's watch what you guys have been waiting for. I mean, if Brad likes it, I guess I do too. It's weird. I met him once, and he was like looking at my wife, and he seemed to like her. And that totally coincides with what I just said about Brad likes her. And he seemed to like her a lot. And I do too. That's kind of fucking creepy, huh? Where the mind can go. You ready for this shit? Tupac. This is important, this video. It's a big wow. I think my wife shut the TV off. Fuck. I got this, guys. You're gonna like it. Boom.
Something discovered. Something different. Mission begins. System.
Your life is your life. Don't let it be clubbed into dank submission.
Beautiful.
Beyond the watch, there are ways out. There is a light somewhere. It may not be much light, but it beats the darkness.
Mission sequence start.
Talk to me about Flare Networks. Flare Networks.
Inviting you. Invite.
They're doing some very interesting stuff with something called the Spark token.
Inviting you.
Beyond the watch, the gods will offer you chances. Know them. Take them. Your life is your life.
System.
Why some say the book, my truth is unknown. And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
I mean, just saying, I don't think it's a bad project.